I think we're live.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to the Still Unsponsored Podcast. We're going. There we go. We're here.
We're here.
We're here. We're here. We're
All
actually
right.
live. We're doing it this way again. Our second experiment with live streaming.
Mm. Oh yeah, I see the little. I just looked it up, and it says live now, but it says starting soon.
Starting. Which channel are you looking at?
Still unsponsored.
Which one? What website?
The YouTubes.
The YouTubes. Excellent. Yeah, so I think it's like about a 30-second delay between kind of what we're seeing and then what the rest of it sees. So
Nice.
gives you a little bit of time to, I don't know, actually nothing. It gives you no time to react. I think you could like program a delay if you wanted to. So
Yeah, that's very
anyway,
good for our language.
well, we're a mature audience's podcast anyway, so it doesn't
Mm.
matter. All right. So, just to get started, Still Unsponsored podcast about marketing. If you've ever wondered how Microsoft makes UI bugs a company-wide core competency, hit the subscribe button. You could do that now, Zach, because you've wondered that.
You think you're pretty creative, don't you?
And the main topic tonight is going to be, by special request, marketing channels or platforms or tools that we hate. And there's
Podcasts.
pod Apple Podcasts, surprisingly clunky. So yeah, let's just get going with it.
Okay.
First thing on my list was, I don't think I've ever been happy with any of the email tools I've ever used. I got a graveyard of them, but don't like anything.
Uh, what level? Enterprise level, or just kind of do it yourself?
Well, both, right? Because back 6 years ago or whatever, it's like we started with eye contact, which was a total disaster. We'd outgrown that, and they just like didn't really want to admit that they needed to kick us off their platform. It like took too much of their server resources to actually calculate our lists and our blacklists, and it would just crash and send to like some people, and then we'd be in a worse spot because we'd have to come back and try and figure out who had sent to, and then create more complexity that would cause more crashing.
Mm.
But then you go to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, uh,
AKA exact target.
aka Exact Target, and then you just get into, if it's not implemented perfectly, it's a major pain in the butt.
Yeah, but there's nothing ever perfectly implemented either.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever used anything that you were like, okay, this is okay-ish?
Yeah, MailChimp's actually pretty legit.
All right.
Uh, MailChimp for smaller businesses is really cool. Also, ActiveCampaign.
Okay, I
A
haven't
little
used
bit.
ActiveCampaign.
Yeah, it's a little bit more email's a component of it, but it's actually pretty powerful stuff. Check them out for
Okay,
sure. And
okay.
then Intercom. If you're kind of going on that automation path, Intercom also is pretty good too.
But that's almost like a completely different thing because that'll handle your live chat as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what Active Campaign will do too. But from a straight up ESP perspective, I mean, yeah, there's nothing really super great out there. I've seen like Ask Emma or Mama or Emma Mama or something pop
Hmm.
up. They seem to be doing pretty well. I've never played with it though, but I've seen them kind of go into the world of fun. Um, it's a tough industry too.
Yeah, yeah. You would think that it would be easy, but there's so many different flavors of it now. Like whether you're doing marketing automation or just straight mail campaigns or whatever, that it's sort of like hard to pick a lane and then stick with it. Maybe Mailchimp's like kind of the best universal option until you want to go with something that's like highly automated.
Yeah, it also gets really expensive really fast.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And if you have any sort of shady list, then you're going to be in trouble because they'll kick
yeah,
you off. So,
yeah.
which you shouldn't anyway, right?
Right.
No one buys leads.
No one buys leads. Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so moving down my list of platforms that I hate. It's basically like a category of platforms where the salesperson shows up and they're like, we are going to solve these technically unsolvable problems without telling you how we're going to do it. And the main offenders are the marketing attribution people. Because as soon
Yeah,
as
we've
they
talked
start,
about these guys. We've talked about this before.
we're going to rehash it, Zach.
Oh boy. All right.
Rehash it from a different angle. It's like the sales guy needs to be able to tell you how exactly they're tracking it. Like if they're going to do multi-touch attribution through just online channels, that's possible. You can do that. But when they start saying that they're going to track your offline channels and attribute stuff, like there's there's no amount of machine learning that's gonna give you answers to things that are just straight untrackable.
Well, yeah. I guess what's interesting along those veins, though, is Google's rolling out their stuff in GA right now for attribution, and it's starting to get out of beta and roll out more to everyone. Um, so I don't know. It's interesting to see kind of that how that comes to fruition when you start adding in their layers of complexity into things. And
So if
yeah,
Google or Facebook showed up and said, we have a marketing attribution thing, I would almost be more inclined to believe them because I know their footprint on the internet is so big
yeah,
that they have the capability of monitoring everyone. It would be sort of like if the NSA showed up and said they were going to tell me how my marketing was doing. I'd be like, yeah, I'd believe you.
yeah.
Uh, you know,
Well, I mean, yeah, the Google thing, I haven't played with it yet. The Facebook one would be interesting too, because I know a lot of sites have the Facebook Pixel on there, but especially in the B2B world, it might not be as prevalent as you would hope or want or desire.
wasn't it
Much
like
more,
the Facebook was sued by the Europeans because the any like button on any website was phoning home?
probably. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
data.
it's Facebook guys. They're
Yeah,
they're listening to you.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Attribution platforms. I mean, I don't know. It depends what you're using them for. So what's here's a platform I really freaking hate. Any affiliate tracking. So along those veins of attribution, it's
yeah.
affiliate tracking software. I don't care if you're enterprise or not, they all suck. They are so bad on so many different levels between UI, UX, tracking, digging in, trying to figure out where things are coming from. That is such a old school yet like just I don't know, man. That affiliate tracking software sucks.
And you put impact in that.
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay. So what? I guess talk to me a little bit because this is interestingly something I'm investigating right now, and impact
Mm-hmm.
seems to be like the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just their tracking is difficult, or is it the browsers are making it difficult, or is it?
So the tracking piece is fine. Like it'll track things from
Mhm.
A to B. It'll be interesting to see how they start tracking things once the blockers like go apeshit gangbusters on them.
Yeah.
Um, but just the UI, the dashboard of it is terrible. Reports don't load; they take forever.
Yeah.
You can't export data out very easily without literally paying them an arm and a leg for upgraded features. We talked about this before. Exporting data out into a pivot table, something very simple where you can set up your metrics and your dimensions and your values and cross tab. Can't do that. You literally can't do that. You have to pay them a ton of money for a report customizer, which doesn't work half the time.
Uh,
Um, the UI crashes consistently. It doesn't go in between its apps properly, so you half the time you're looking at one piece of software, not the other.
what's
Great
the
technology, so to speak. The UI is absolutely atrocious.
It's kind of interesting because the big trend is like I want to be able to use something like Supermetrics and Data Studio and like push everything into a big data lake or data warehouse. Pick your
Snowflake.
buzzword, pick your buzzword bingo. Um, and so if that data portability is not there, then it's a big problem. And it's kind of weird because it's like Facebook and Google are both like it's super easy to work with them. Like their API will tell you everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, well,
interesting.
the impact one is definitely very difficult. Even other ones too that I've used before, so if you go to the network side, like CJ, that thing's a clunker and a half.
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, I've experienced with CJ recently, Commission Junction. So it seemed like they just weren't doing any development. Like there's still a big network of affiliates there, so it's a good recruiting ground, but
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of manual work and a kind of a crusty old system.
that share sale's even older.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I just kind of had chalked it up to like Impact was killing everyone in the affiliate space.
I mean,
So
that's true. They
yeah,
are, but holy moly, they're still like you look at what a lot of the dashboarding tools you'll see out there right now, or even your point like Google Data Studio or whatnot. You start looking at those tools.
yeah,
Fine, cool. Make a connector. Make something that I can get out from Impact so I can stick it somewhere else. It's very difficult to do.
yeah, yeah. Maybe here's the other thing: is like Google Data Studio is not simple to use. So while it is tremendously powerful, uh, it is like master's level shit to try and figure out how to actually get that thing to do the right things.
Yeah, yeah, true. It's yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I would put Impact on. I give Impact maybe more of a like you're not that old yet, so I'll give
Hmm.
you a little bit of a pass.
No, they've had enough M&A now. They have to have a good enough fighting power here to get someone decent on staff to do some UX for them.
Yeah. Yeah, or just give us the API to pull it out and do
Or
our own thing,
the API connectors that Data
right?
Studio can connect to.
Data
Yeah.
portability. Give me the data.
Yep.
And maybe that's like just the big theme for here, or one of the big themes that we'll probably ultimately say is like, well, if you're not allowing me to connect it to all my other tools, then it's like I just can't play with you. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
That's,
gotta,
that's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Let me scan down my list. Yeah, man, I just want to go back and shit on the attribution players again because it's just like I think I was just so burned by that entire experience that where they show up and they're like, hey, yeah, we're just gonna tell you something that is just technically not possible, you know, and it's like we're more technical marketers, like we're digital performance marketers, like you have to explain to us how something works
Yeah.
or we don't believe you.
Yeah.
And then when they blew up and couldn't do it, it's like, all right, well, it's partly my fault for not throwing the brakes on this thing.
The machine knows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's another one. The Adobe Suite, Omniture.
You know what? You can shit on them all you want. I actually don't mind it.
Really,
Yeah.
I had like early in my career, it was like a theme that as soon as I came into a new business, the first thing I did was shut down like the Adobe Omniture
Hmm.
platform, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna take that $120,000 a year or whatever, and we're just gonna put that into more Google ads, and we're actually gonna get business out of this rather than spend it on whatever. It
Well,
it
to be fair, the Google Premium is 150 grand a year.
well, yeah, yeah. Gone are the days where everything's free, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I to be transparent, I haven't used SiteCat back when it was called SiteCat. I mean, I haven't used it since 2013, 2014.
Hmm.
But what was really nice about that, and there's some tools out there that are starting to do this now, but you could go back. So you could create a segment and then go back in history and see what happened with that segment. So with GA, you still can't do that. You can't get historicals when you create a new segment.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really useful feature. Sort of that. Oh, I had this idea. Let's see what happened.
Right.
So to me, that's why SiteCat always took the prize. Also, the reports actually were pretty good. Like what you could kind of put together when you start adding dimensions and everything. I don't mind. Again, I don't know what's changed. I haven't used it in probably 7 years now. But when I
They
used it,
might
it was
not be
actually
around anymore.
it might not be around anymore. It was pretty legit. I mean, we also back when I was using it, we also compared
Well,
IBM's.
Site Catalyst. All right, so that's just it's part of the Adobe
It's
suite.
first it's over
Yeah.
now. But there's
Yeah.
also the IBM thing. That thing was a clunker and a half. I remember when that sales call, I was like, "Whoa, this is 1995 call, guys." They also want a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I will disagree with you. I think that the Adobe, again, who knows? Maybe it's a piece of crap now.
I mean,
But
if you're a
back when
Fortune 500 company and you want Adobe to hold your hand and you don't care, like you literally don't care, and you want everything to be, sort of under one roof, I mean, they have their point or their purpose. And I will say my last experience with them, there wasn't a sales call. Uh, the Adobe reps were essentially acting almost like paid search managers. Like they were going way out of their way. So it wasn't like a, I didn't have a problem with the company or the people that worked there. It was just like this is just really expensive when I could get this, the same functionality for free from Google.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Google, I feel like if Google rolled out like a in between the crazy price and then the free version, it would
Mhm.
probably sell a lot. I don't know what you would include in that, but I feel like there's something there that Google just they'll could roll out something that's like 20 grand a year, 15 grand a year or something. I bet you a lot. I don't know what you do on there, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they would get out of it.
Yeah.
There's a
Uh,
product idea for anyone from Google listening to this awesome podcast.
uh, they're in our network. Uh, um, yeah, yeah. What's the other one? I would say like Adobe and Marketo, or they're the same. They're the same thing now, right?
I don't
Adobe
know.
bought.
That was a piece of junk.
Yeah. So okay, we should talk about bid management. Just to go down that that rabbit hole. But I would say that they have very aggressive sales teams. So
Oh,
uh, Adobe, Marketo, like a lot of those bid management, like the high
well,
end
Marketo's not bid management. Marketo's
or
email automation,
marketing automation.
marketing automation. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you're right.
Can you say that again?
In this instance, I was mistaken, and you were factually accurate.
Okay, good. Okay,
Enjoy it, Zach. You won't hear it ever again.
okay, that's fair.
In fact, I might edit it out for the podcast version.
Well, we're live. It's on record somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of the bits and the bytes.
maybe. Or the three people that are listening to this, I don't know if they caught it. They can type it into the chat.
Well, no, that's probably one last because I was watching ourselves.
Man, padding our own stats. Uh, oh, I was gonna say the sales teams are very aggressive, and I think it was the Adobe Marketo, whatever. I have probably 4 Yeti products laying around my house because they would, to get a meeting, send me a link for like it's like the email shows up and says like, hey, we stalked you on social and we think that you want this thing, right? And so you click the link and it's like this entire store that you can choose from. And so it's
Can you
like
send me that link?
well, maybe I don't know if maybe they caught on that I was abusing this thing, because every time they sent me one, I'd be like, yeah, I'll totally take a meeting with you, and I'll take a large Yeti bottle, and
Heck yes.
the last time I got one of those like 5-gallon buckets, uh, and we jump on a call, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm not really interested, guys, but thanks for the Yeti
Thanks for
thing.
Yeti. Yeah.
Happy to keep talking to you like every couple of months if you're gonna keep sending me shit. So I mean that's not, we don't hate them at all. We just encourage that behavior. But yeah,
Yeah.
from a using that tool on the other side, I was certainly abusing it. I bet everyone else was as well.
Most likely that was a short-lived campaign.
Yeah. I did ask the rep the last time I talked to him. I'm like, how is this working for you? And they said that it gets the meetings, 100% gets the meetings, but obviously the follow up is rough.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And checks the box. One KPI. We got meetings.
The marketing people are like, this worked great. The
We
salespeople
got
can't
we
close.
got the meetings. You guys just suck at selling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Moving on. Things that I dislike, well, wait, hang on. We didn't talk about bid managers. So let's
Yeah, you
do
were going
that.
on that tangent real quick.
Yeah. So Kinshu, what are the other ones?
Marin, WordStream.
Yeah.
That's basically the only ones I can think of.
My
Adobe has one too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. My main problem with them was sort of twofold, and especially now it's been made worse, where Google runs or rolls out betas, and it's like the beta access is like slow in their API, which means that the bid manager is slow to be able to like manage that thing, right?
Yeah.
That and the thing is not fully thought out, like how those two things should connect, because they're kind of doing it live. And I've always thought like it was a big competitive advantage to be in those betas first, like first ones figuring it out. So there was that. And then the other side of it is you have like a black box controlling a black box, so you have
Yeah.
these new dynamic campaigns that are doing something, like they're picking everything for you. Just don't worry, trust them. And then you're going to throw a bid manager on top of that. And this just sounds like Flash Crash territory.
Well, so here's a real question. So, I mean, Google's been pushing out all their automation like crazy and gangbusters. If you're spending anything in there, like eCPC is dead. So, like, what do these bid managers have on the Google algorithm that Google doesn't already have? Like, you ask one of these Google reps, and like, oh yeah, you changed target CPAs, taking in hundreds and thousands of different factors on that search on that user. Cool.
Right.
Okay, bid management software, repeat that. Like, what are you
Right.
really doing here?
Yeah, well, and they're just throwing a layer of complexity on top of it. So it's
Yeah.
like you have their automatic driving thing doing that thing, and then you have Google's automatic driving thing, and it's like they're backseat driving each other, and the more you tweak one, the more noise you get on the other, and it's yeah, I think it's a bad situation.
I think that industry's in for a rude awakening.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know, unless you want to go PPC Luddite strategy and just do everything yourself.
Well, but even so, fun fact, I've tried that very recently, or someone on my team has tried that very recently, and it doesn't work.
Hmm.
You go from automation to non-automation, it doesn't work. Like even eCPC technically has some automation in there. It just doesn't work. It flat out, like there's different campaigns, but manual CPC bidding is, from what I can tell, in our industry and our verticals, it just doesn't perform the way automation does. Type, rabble, rabble, rabble.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to get people in the chat to like actually say hi. If
Yeah.
you're in the chat, say hi. We can see it. um, yeah. Bid managers done for. I mean, it made sense 7 years ago, but I don't think it makes sense now.
Again, I think that industry is in for a world
Yeah.
of pain.
Yeah. Well, here's another reason to not like it, which is it could potentially make you lazy. So you start to think that your main lever for optimizing your campaigns is moving that target bid around. And maybe in the old days when you had a campaign that was like really well optimized and had been running for a long time and had some history behind it, that could have been true. But now again, there's so many details when you log into the AdWords account. You've got to have your hands directly on it. You can't just
It's
be
Google
adjusting.
Ads, Chris.
Sorry, it will be forever AdWords
Google
until I
Ads.
get the tattoo covered up. AdWords.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, because we probably could talk about that forever, or complain about that forever. Woodpecker.
The hell's woodpecker?
So Woodpecker is. It's more. It's not so that I dislike the tool. I dislike being on the receiving end of it. So how you get those chain emails that are like, hey, so it's so and so from this company. I want to sell you something, and then like 2 days later, you get it like, hey, you didn't follow up, so I'm just checking back in. And then 2 days later, it's like, hey, so you didn't get this, and so I'm just gonna assume that you've fallen down a giant well, or that you were hit by an asteroid, or you hate me, right? Like those style emails.
Oh, I found a woodpecker. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. You're so cold email is what you're really getting at.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yep,
Okay.
yep, yeah, exactly,
All right.
exactly.
There's a whole bunch of these services out there.
Right. I
Uh,
I suspect that these guys might be the biggest. I don't have any data to back it
I've
up.
never heard of these guys in my life, so they're not the biggest.
Who have you played with any of these, or who do you?
Yeah. Mailshake is a good one
Okay.
for Gmail. All the CRMs have it now. They're starting to get like email automation in there, so literally all the CRMs.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so here's the thing about Woodpecker is like they know that it's like it's like this don't ask, don't tell thing where they're like, well, we're pretty sure that you aren't getting these leads from like a double opt-in source, so just hook it up to a Gmail account and we'll use them as the SMTP, whatever, and just run the rate limit so you don't.
yeah, Mailshake does the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, there's a lot of them out there now. For link building, like BuzzStream, we've used quite a bit. BuzzStream, like
Hmm,
that's it's the same thing.
nice.
It's all in the sequences, so everyone, a lot of those are just templates inside these systems, so people are too lazy to even change them. They're just like, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about that years ago where it's like is does Neil Patel like release like a newsletter that says like, "Hey guys, this is the shitty intro line of the week. Like please
Probably.
everyone update your campaigns."
Yeah, yeah, probably. This woodpecker is interesting. It's a horrible name.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is odd. Uh I guess once you think about it, it maybe makes sense.
Even yeah, even HubSpot does it. Like HubSpot, I mean, it's essentially email automation.
Yeah. I
Okay,
think email automation on the shady end.
I guess. I mean,
The
whatever.
shady end of what you could get away
People leaves
with
it
at
forever,
a
and they send out. I don't know. It doesn't really
yeah.
make a difference what tool
The
it is.
shady end of what you could get away with at a company with a legal department.
Got
Maybe
it.
we'll say that.
Okay.
Uh, because
So
if you
you
don't
just
have a
get on the end of cold emails, in other words,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then
something
the
like
ones
that.
that know if you open it or not, and are trying to be cool and kitschy.
Right. I mean, to be on the marketing side of those campaigns is fun, right? It is kind of fun to run those things. But to be on the receiving end of it, extra annoying. So,
Mm,
I think that's the other thing where you probably got to be a little bit mindful of what you're doing to your brand and if you care, depending on how high you scale that up.
yeah,
So,
that's it.
yeah,
I
or
don't think it annoys me to the level it must annoy you. I just
well,
then I get
yeah,
to my inbox, which is even better. We have really high spam protection.
yeah. I think not in either of our markets, but if you were in a B2B market where the number of buyers was somewhat known, and then you were doing this, you could really quickly get yourself a reputation.
Ooh,
So,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. All right,
why you don't buy leads?
boom. Uh, let's. Well, hang on. We should put caveat. I don't. Maybe I don't agree with you there. It depends on it depends on how you're buying them. If you're going and buying a cold list, and the list has like 100,000, yeah, you shouldn't do
Yeah,
that. Uh,
yeah,
if you're paying a partner who's running content and collecting leads, I'm into that.
yeah. That's true. That's a difference.
Yeah, there's nuance to it.
There's nuance.
There's nuance.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's okay, officer. I was speeding, but no one's around.
right.
Yeah,
No one stopped me.
yeah. I just got the brakes done. It's great.
Yeah, they work great.
They work great. Let's flip it over. Tools that you absolutely rely on. Like,
Rely on?
yeah, like if you're going in a new place, you know, and you're like, okay, this is my toolbox. What are you going for?
Well, G Suite, of course.
For email?
No, not even for email, just
Just
work. Like
yeah. So Google Ads. See, I got to write
Sheets.
that. Analytics,
Yeah,
optimizer.
everything, anything Google. I mean, fun fact: I have tried to use Office online. Oh, that's a world of fun.
Really?
It's horrible. So, case in point, you and I are both very Google literate.
Yeah.
I also was trying to edit a Excel online document. What's really amusing about it is that you can have people collaborating in real time, but the real time is off by about 30 seconds. So
Mm,
you'll sit there and watch people make changes or do changes. It's just a cluster because it's like to writing, comment, like it doesn't work.
so
Uh,
it's not like Google Documents where it's just like instant.
oh no, not at all. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, Google Documents, that was a game changer back in the day
yeah.
because, you know, yeah. I mean, if you're remote working, it's like you just get everyone in a document and you all collaborate. So like,
Not even remote working. If you're in the same meeting room, like
I
legit. Just
I've probably spent at this point a year sitting in an simultaneously open Google document and and a like some other form of hangout, like collaborating with people,
yeah,
like a cumulative year of hours.
yeah. I believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously Google Analytics. If you're gonna do CRM and you're at a bigger company and you can pay for it, Salesforce with
Yeah.
all their out of the box things, but you're also gonna need to pay for the consultant to come in and install it right because it's really all about the integration.
All about the
All
integration.
about the integration. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Like, if you try and DIY that stuff, you're going to end up in trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else? Hotjar?
Yeah, Hotjar's fine. There's other tools out there. Hotjar's a good one.
Optimizely or Google
I don't
Optimize?
know. I haven't used Optimize in a while. I know they went enterprise only, so I don't know. But Google Optimize is pretty legit. Not VWO. There's one we should add to the list. VWO. Don't use that.
Living that life right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, not too bad. Actually, so, well, hang on. Quick tangent. I was running an experiment recently where I have my optimizer only setting a cookie and basically telling me like this person's in the audience or not in the audience. And then I'm using opt-in monster to deliver exit intents dependent on what the cookie says. Right? So that way I can test like different offers and actually have the optimization tool come back with a report that says this is the conversion lift based off the offer. Right.
Use Optimize's personalizations.
Google optimized personalizations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go check that out.
Yep.
Yeah, and then after that, it's all kind of basic stuff. Let me scan my notes here.
Well, we already talked about Supermetrics. That's super important.
Oh yeah, that's actually one of my new favorites. Like,
yeah, that's pretty
it's worth the whatever it is, like $120 a month or something.
I don't know. It depends on if you do studio or what. I don't even know. But
I mean, and if you think about it, like if you're spending over $1,000 a month, on advertising, that 120 is whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, I don't know. It's kind of a come and take it situation. I don't know. Sorry, I'm dying here, man. I've exerted at least 1,000 to 2,000 calories in the last half day, and I haven't eaten anything.
And not eaten anything.
No, I had a little bit of water, but I think I definitely lost 3 pounds in water weight since I woke up this morning already. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, we could just wrap this up.
Let's wrap this up
and call it done. Here, look, I'll play the outro music. See? Well, you can't hear it. I
can't hear it.
It's going. All right. Well, that was it. We have, obviously email address stillunsponsored@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, all the places.
Twitch.
Subscribe, Apple Music. And if you have something you want to hear, then let us know. Next week, well, specifically Thursday, we're going to do a live stream again. This one's going to be fun. It's a buddy of mine who flies in life flight. He's a life flight EMT, and he has a couple of podcasts that he covers that sort of thing. So basically, his job's way cooler than ours.
His job is very cool.
Yeah, and he's trying to figure out how to get his podcast to pay for itself, essentially. So how can he turn his side hustle into, something that's making money? So since both of us have bought a bunch of podcast advertising, we can give him some ideas. So it'd be like Thursday around 5 p.m. Central, whatever that is, 3 Pacific. Cool.
Can't wait.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay, bye.